Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Chapter 11 Vishwarupa Darshan Yoga, the Universal Form. Atato Ekadashodhyaya. Text 1. Arjuna Uvacha Madanugruhaya Paramam Guhya Madhyatma Sanjitam Yatvayoktam Vachastena Mohoyam Vigato Mama.
Arjuna said, "By my hearing the instructions you have kindly given me about these most confidential spiritual subjects, my illusion has now been dispelled."
Text 2. Bhavapyayo hi bhutanam shruto vistarasho maya tvattah kamalapatraksha mahatmyam api chavyayam.
O Lotus-eyed one, I have heard from you about the appearance of every living entity and have realized glories.
Text 3. Eva metata.
Hare Krishna? Okay.
Sorry, Mataji, can I continue?
Yes, please continue.
Okay. Eva metatatvam atmanam parameshvara drushtumichami te rupam aishvaram purushottama.
O greatest of all personalities, O supreme form, though I see you here before me in your actual position, as you have described yourself, I wish to see how you have entered into this cosmic manifestation. I want to see that form of yours.
Text 4. Manyase yadi tachakyam maya drushtimiti prabho yogeshwar tato me tvam darshayatmanam avyayam.
If you think that I am able to behold your cosmic form, O my Lord, O Master of all my mystic power, then kindly show me that unlimited universal self.
Text 5. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Pashya me partha rupani shatashata sahasrashah nana vidhani divyani nana varnakriti cha.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, O son of Pratha, see now my opulences, hundreds of thousands of varied, divine, and multicolored forms."
Text 6. Pashyaditan vasun rudran ashvino marutas Bahunyadrushta purvani pascharani bharata.
O best of Bharatas, see here the different manifestation of Adityas, Vasus, Rudras, Ashwini Kumaras, and all the other demigods. Behold the many wonderful things which no one has ever seen or heard of before.
Text 7. Ike hastam jagat krishnam paschada sacharacharam mama dehe gurakesha yachad darshutam ichasi.
O Arjuna, whatever you wish to say, behold at once in this body of mine. This universal form can show you whatever you now desire to say and whatever you may want to say in the future. Everything moving and non-moving is here completely in one place.
Text 8. Natu ma shakyashe drushtam aneneva svachakshusha divyam dadami te chakshuhu pashyame yogameshwaram.
But you cannot see me with your present eyes. Therefore I give you divine eyes. Behold my mystic opulence.
Text 9. Sanjaya uvacha eva muktva tato rajan mahayogeshwaro hari darshayamasa parthaya paramam rupameshwaram.
Sanjaya said, O king, having spoken thus, the Supreme Lord of all mystic power, the personality of Godhead, displayed his universal form to Arjuna.
Text 10 and 11. Anekavaktra nayanam, anekabahuda darshanam, anekadivyabharanam, divyanekodayudam, divyamalambaram daram, divyagandhanulepanam, sarvashrayamayam devam, anantam vishwato mukha.
Arjuna saw in that universal form unlimited mouths, unlimited eyes, unlimited wonderful visions. The form was decorated with many celestial ornaments and bore many divine upraised weapons. He wore celestial garlands and garments, and many divine scents were smeared over his body. All was wondrous, brilliant, unlimited, all expanding.
Text 12. Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhaveduga Padunthita Yadi Bhasadrashi Syasatra Syasatyas Mahatmanam.
If hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once into the sky, their radiance might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form.
Text 13. Tatraikastham Jagatkrishnam Pravibhaktamanekada Apashya Deva Devasya Sharire Pandavastada.
At that time, Arjuna could see in the universal form of the Lord the unlimited expansion of the universe, situated in one place, although divided into many, many thousands.
Text 14. ततः स विस्मयाविष्टो हृष्टरोमा धनञ्जय प्रणम्य शीर्षा देवं कृताञ्जलिरभाषत.
Then, bewildered and astonished, his hair standing on end, Arjuna bowed his head to offer obeisances and with folded hands began to pray to the Supreme Lord.
Text 15. Arjuna uvacha pashyami devastvamadev dehe sarvastata bhuta vishe sanghan brahmanamisham kamalasanastan mrushchishcha sarvanuragascha divyan.
Arjuna said, My dear Lord Krishna, I see assembled in your body all the demigods and various other living entities. I see Brahma sitting on the lotus flower as well as Lord Shiva and all the sages and divine infants.
Text 16. Aneka bahu taravaktra netram paschami tvam sarvo sananta rupam nantam namadhyam na punastavadim paschami vishveshwara vishwarupa.
O Lord of the universe, O universal form, I see in your body many, many arms and bellies, mouths and eyes, expanded everywhere without limit. I see in you no end, no middle, and no beginning.
Text 17. Kiritam gadinam chakrinam cha tejo rashi sarvato diptamantam Paschami tvam dur nirakshay samanta diptarnalarka dhrutimam prameyam.
Your form is difficult to see because of its glaring effulgence, spreading on all sides like blazing fire, or the immeasurable radiance of the sun. Yet I see this glowing form everywhere, adorned with various crowns, clubs, and discs.
Text 18. Tvamaksharam paramadivdeditavyam tvamasya vishvasya param nidanam tvamavyaya shashvata dharma gopta sanatanastvam purusho mato me.
You are the supreme primal objective, sorry. You are the ultimate resting place of all this universe. You are inexhaustible, and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of the eternal religion, the personality of Godhead. This is my opinion.
Text 19. Anadimadyantanamanta mananta bahu sashishurya netram pashyami tvam deepatamhutavakastram swateja vishwamidam tapantam.
You are the without origin, middle, or end. Your glory is unlimited. You have numberless arms and the sun and moon are your eyes. I see you with blazing fire coming forth from your mouth, burning this entire universe by your own radiance.
Text 20. Dyava prithivyoridamamparam hi vyaptam tvaikena dishascha sarva drishtvad rupamukram tavedam lokatrayam pravyathitam mahatman.
Although you are one, you spread throughout the sky and the planets and all space between. O Great One, seeing this wondrous and terrible form, all the planetary systems are perturbed.
Text 21. Amihi tvam surasandha vishanti kechadbita prajalayo grunanti swasti tvayuktva maharshi sita sangha stuvanti tvam stuti pushkalavi.
All the hosts of demigods are surrounding before you and entering into you, some of them very much afraid and offering prayers with folded hands. Hosts of great sages and perfected beings, crying all peace, are praying to you by singing the Vedic hymns.
Text 22. Rudradityava savoye cha sadhya vishveshvino marutoshoshma pascha gandharva yaksha surasita sangha vikshante tvam vishmata vaishva sarve.
All the various manifestations of Lord Shiva, the Adityas, the Vasus, the Sadhyas, the Vishvavedas, the two Asvis, the Maruts, the forefathers, the Gandharvas, the Yakshas, the Asuras, and the perfected demigods are beholding you in wonder.
Text 23. Rupam mahatte bahuvaktra netram mahabaho bahubahurupadam bahudaram bahudrashta karalam drishtva loka pravestitastathaham.
O mighty armed one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your great form, with its many faces, eyes, arms, thighs, legs, and bellies, and your many terrible teeth. And as they are disturbed, so am I.
Text 24. Nabhasprusham diptamane vyatyananam diptavishalanetram drishtva hi tvam pravyathitantaratma dhrutim navandami shamam cha Vishnu.
O all-pervading Vishnu, see you with your many radiant colors touching the sky, your gaping mouths, and your great glowing eyes. My mind is perturbed by fear. I can no longer maintain my steadiness or equilibrium of mind.
Text 25. Drashta karala nichate mukhani drashtaiva vakala nalasannibani disho न जाने न लवे च शर्मा प्रसीद देवेश जगन्निवास.
O Lord of Lords, O refuge of the world, please be gracious to me. I cannot keep my balance seeing thus your blazing death-like faces and awful teeth. In all directions I am bewildered.
Text 26 and 27. Ami cha tvam dhrustrarashtrasya putra sarve sahevavanipala sanghe Bhishmo drona sutapotra sthasau sahasmadireirapi yota mukhe vakrataani te tvarama vakrataani tvaramana vishanti द्रष्टा करालानि भयानकानि केचिद्वलग्ना दशनन्तरेषु सन्दृश्यते चूर्णितेरुमातङ्गैः. Hare Krishna.
All the sons of Dhritarashtra, along with their allied kings and Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and our chief soldiers also, are rushing into your fearful mouths, and some I see trapped with heads smashed between your teeth. Hare Krishna, thank you very
Hare
much.
Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you, both of you, Prabhuta Mataji and Nitai Mata Mataji. Prabhuta Mataji, I just wanted to check with you. Are you reading the Sanskrit?
Yes, Mataji.
Brilliant. Your pronunciation and the way you were reciting was so beautiful, flowing so nicely.
Thank you, Mataji.
Very much. Thank you, Nitai Mata Mataji. Your English.
Thank
Perfect.
you.
Thank you.
Oh, Krishna. Thank
Thank
you.
you, both of you. Hare Krishna.
Hare.
Okay, so welcome everybody. I'm so happy to see so many devotees on today's most auspicious Radhashtami day. I hope all of you had the chance to go and take darshan. Today Radha Rani was looking extremely beautiful. You can unmute and say if you had all gone, some of you at least.
Yes,
Yes, it was
Mataji. We are just
beautiful.
coming from temple, Mataji.
Brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, nobody should have missed the darshan today. She was so beautiful. Right, we are very lucky that at least we are getting to go and have darshan even after this lockdown and the state we are in. All thanks to mercy, Prabhupada's mercy. Okay, so today what we will be doing is we will do the chapter 10, verse number 12. So let me just share my screen and then we will see what else we will do. Let's keep that a secret. Okay, can everybody see the screen?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes,
Yes,
Mataji.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Mataji.
That's good. Right, okay. So today we are going to do, one second, just let me adjust my screen so that I don't have this. Yeah, that's better. Okay. So yeah, we are going to do chapter 11, verse 12. Sorry. Yeah. So yesterday yesterday Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu did the verses 9, 10 and 11. So he covered 3 verses yesterday and we will do verse 12. So before we start, let's just say the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. You know, sometimes I forget that we are all behind screens and I can't see people. And I almost feel like as if we are going to interact with each other. And then I remember that, everybody is on mute and we are behind screens. It's a new way of interacting. Need to get used to it, really. Okay. So verse 11.12. Divi Surya Sahasrasya Bhavedyugapaduttita Yadi Basadrushi Sasyad Bhashastasya Mahatmanaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If hundreds of thousands of suns were to rise at once into the sky, their radiance might resemble the effulgence of the Supreme Person in that universal form. What Arjuna saw was indescribable, Yet Sanjaya is trying to give a mental picture of that great revelation to Dhritarashtra. Neither Sanjaya nor Dhritarashtra were present, but Sanjaya, by the grace of Vyasa, could see whatever happened. Thus, he now compares the situation, as far as it can be understood, to an imaginable phenomenon, that is, thousands of suns. So we have been discussing in the 11th chapter how Krishna is showing the universal form to Arjuna on his request. And in the previous verses, we have seen how Arjuna was given the divine eyes to see, because with your normal eyes, one would not be able to see it, right? So he was given these divine eyes to see. And we have not yet gone to how Arjuna then reacts. That will be followed in the next verses. But here itself, we can see that Sanjay, though he's sitting in the palace of Dhritarashtra, he has also been given this vision to see what is happening on the battlefield. And sitting there in the palace, he is describing everything that is happening on the battlefield to Dhritarashtra, who is materially blind also. Now, the thing, what Sanjaya is seeing, the effulgence of the universal form of Krishna, is you just cannot imagine it. So from our point of view, we as human beings in this human body, we cannot even perceive. When Prabhupada explains, or in the translation it is explained, that the effulgence is like thousands of suns. Can any of us imagine how great that effulgence will be? Because our eyes, Prabhupada always says that with our material eyes and with our understanding, we cannot perceive this thing. And that is what actually, if you see in the translation and purport, this is exactly what is coming out, that Sanjay is only trying his best to give Dhritarashtra an understanding of how the universal form looks like. But it is very difficult for any of us to give 100% understanding, because we cannot perceive something like this. Unfortunately, we cannot even understand the material world. Then how are we going to understand the source? Lord Krishna is the source of the entire material and spiritual world. We cannot understand, we cannot even see. Prabhupada gives a very good example that, if the lights are switched off, you cannot even see something that is within the room. And in the daytime, you cannot see something if the wall is blocking, if something is not in the room, you cannot see through the rooms, right? Those are superheroes, but we only have superheroes with our spiritual. We don't have any material superheroes. So we cannot understand this. And also, like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, that we are all parts and parcel of Krishna. Mamaivansha jiva loke. We are all parts of Krishna. But the part can never be equal to the whole. So this verse, actually, I'm not going to dwell so much on this verse, simply because we want to talk about Radharani today. But the entire translation, the purport, is just telling us that we cannot imagine this. But then the question is, does that mean that our senses are useless because the absolute is so great that we cannot perceive? So herein is the essence of bhakti and devotional service, bhakti yoga, right? So the point is, what Krishna is teaching us and what bhakti is teaching us is that even with these senses, what we can do is that we have to dovetail all our senses in the service of Krishna. We don't need to understand him full, and we will not be able to understand him full. And that is not needed in Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is wherein you realize that I am part of Krishna and I want to serve him. the problem is sometimes, we start to think that I know God. I know God. He is this two-armed form. In fact, he's not even a warrior in the battle at Kurukshetra. He's actually just a charioteer. He's a charioteer of Arjuna. And this is where the problem starts. The same charioteer then manifests his universal form. So in one sense, we will never be able to know Krishna fully. But then at the same time, we don't need to. What Krishna is saying is, with your material senses, we may not be able to understand Krishna, but if these material senses are dovetailed into the service of Krishna, then we don't need to understand him fully, because then our love will manifest and it'll take over. Like the gopis in Vrindavan did not understand Krishna as the absolute, did not understand Krishna as the supreme personality. They only understood their love for him. And with bhakti, that is what we aim to do, right? So I'm only going to limit myself to this much because it is already 8:14. We don't have a lot of time. So let's just go on to talking about Radharani. I hope that this particular verse, nobody has any questions. If you do, we can take some questions if you want, but otherwise we will move on. Anybody, any questions, any doubts, any comments? Okay, everybody is mute, so I presume that we are okay to move on. So there's some chats which I'm not able to access, but let me see. Okay, that's from Gautam Mataji. Thank you. Okay, so next, let's move on to, obviously today being Radhashtami, we cannot not talk about Radharani. But right in the beginning, I'm just going to say I am so insignificant to talk about this very, very deep topic. So I'm not even going to try to explain anything. I will just be touching on some things because we've got more exalted devotees on this call who probably are better at explaining the tattva of Radharani. So I will not be doing that, but we will just touch upon a few things and we will take it from there. So, when this question comes up, when people see this picture, they ask, who is this girl? Now, here we need to understand that we are talking about people from all over. I know that, as Indians or growing up in that culture, almost all of us do know about Radharani, who is Radharani and who is Krishna and whatever else. But for a person who sees for the first time and then they hear about Krishna, then the next question is, who is this girl with Krishna? Right? So, who is Srimati Radharani? She is completely non-different to Krishna, right? Radharani and Krishna are one and the same. They are not different to each other. Now, how can we understand this and explain this? So, the analogy that our acharyas use and Prabhupada uses is very beautiful and actually very simple and makes sense. Is the sun and the sunshine different to each other? Some may say, in a sense, yes, but in a sense, no. Can the sun exist without the sunshine? And can the sunshine exist without the sun? It cannot. So this is what we talk about when we say they are simultaneously one and they are different. Sometimes we say, the sun is in my room. Now, is the sun actually in my room? It's not. The sun is millions and millions and millions of miles away. I don't even know how many miles. I'm not very scientific that way. But we still say the sun is in my room. When we say the sun is in my room, we are obviously talking about the sunshine. So the sun and sunshine are simultaneously one and different. Likewise, when we talk about fire and heat, can you ever separate the heat from fire? Where there is fire, there has got to be heat. Right? So same way, Radha and Krishna are one and the same. They are the energy and the energetic. They cannot be without each other. Okay. So then the question is that, so what is why does, the pleasure potency, why does Krishna manifest as this? So then our acharyas explain to us in a very simple way, actually, that all of us are seeking pleasure. And when we are seeking pleasure, we use the term that this is for my pleasure or but you will realize and notice that none of us can or want to be alone. Sorry. Or we can enjoy alone. Nothing in this world, you'll see that, nothing in this world gives us happiness if we have nobody else to share it with, right? So that is the reason. But then Krishna is the supreme, he's fully independent. Like we say that, everything rests upon him, right? So why does he need to? He doesn't need anyone. Yeah, he doesn't need anyone. He is everything. Nobody exists. But still, when he wants to enjoy, he expands the potency within himself that gives him enjoyment. And that potency is Radharani. Now, the thing is that we cannot understand Krishna. Like we say, even in a mundane way, right? When I say that, oh, sometimes we have arguments, let's say, and I say, you don't understand me. Because nobody can understand oneself as much as you yourself can. And that's true. When you look deep within, you know yourself the best, right? So the authority on Krishna is Krishna himself. And in the Bhagavad Gita, this verse says 10.15, I will just read the translation. It says, indeed, you alone know yourself by your own internal potency, O Supreme Person, origin of all, Lord of all beings, God of gods, Lord of the universe. So only Krishna knows himself. But then, it says then that, but those to whom he reveals himself can understand him. And we've all heard this in previous classes, how Krishna reveals himself first to Brahma from within his heart. Yeah, the first verse of the Bhagavatam says, Tene Brahma Hridaya Adi Kave, from his heart. And then Brahma goes on to reveal to Narad Muni, and then Narad Muni reveals this knowledge to Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva is the author of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So what we are doing here, we are the next, that's why very important to understand the next statement. It says here, the spiritual master in this disciplic line is a bona fide authority regarding Krishna. So when we are gathering together and we are reading Srila Prabhupada's books, we also come in the same disciplic line. And that is why we can then think, or at least make an effort to understand Krishna, right? None of us can understand Krishna completely. It's only his pure devotees that can understand Krishna. But because we have Prabhupada, who's a pure devotee, and because we have his writings, his explanations, so we can maybe take some steps towards understanding Krishna. Now, why are we talking about understanding Krishna? That leads us on to the next thing. Krishna is the reservoir of all pleasure, but Krishna derives most pleasure from the service rendered by his devotees. And in Canto 11, I think chapter 12, I can't remember which verse it was, but Krishna actually says to Uddhava that the attraction that I feel for devotional service rendered by my devotees is not to be equaled. None of the austerities, none of the yogic siddhis that people can achieve, nothing of that gives any pleasure to Krishna except for the devotional service rendered by his devotees. And Srimati Radharani is the embodiment of pure devotional service. Yeah, like it is explained, the very name Radharani comes from the Sanskrit word aradhana, which means worship. So Srimati Radharani is the embodiment of pure devotional service. Krishna is the property of pure unconditional devotees. So only these devotees, only by the mercy of these devotees can us fallen souls also hope that we will be given the chance to perform devotional service. And that is why we cannot approach Krishna directly, because Krishna is at such a high level that it's just like Prabhupada used to use this example, that I think I've given this example before. If you want to meet any important person, or a big industrialist or whoever it is, you cannot just go and knock on his door and say, you know what, I just came to say hello to you. And during these COVID times, he is not even going to open the door, so let's not even try. But the point is that you cannot just approach a very important person directly. In this mundane material world, if we have that kind of etiquette, then can you imagine what it must be in the spiritual world? We cannot and we should not approach Krishna directly, because that is not what he likes and that is not what he appreciates. And that is why we approach Krishna through his pure devotees. And Srimati Radharani, there is nobody above Srimati Radharani. So that is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, he says, Gopi Bhartur Pad Kamalyor Das 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 Anudas. Not even that you approach Srimati Radharani, you approach the servant of the servant of the servant of Srimati Radharani. And that is how someday you might get love of Krishna to a small percentage. We can only hope for that and we can pray for that. But Prabhupada and our gurus and our acharyas and this movement has taught us what is the right etiquette to approach Krishna. That is through Srimati Radharani. This is so interesting. So over here it says that the person who has not at any time received the dust of the feet of the Lord's pure devotees upon his head is like a dead body, is compared to a dead body. And the person who's never experienced the aroma of the tulsi leaves from the lotus feet of the Lord is also a dead body, although breathing. So this is from Srimad Bhagavatam. And in the purport, actually, Prabhupada so nicely describes that in Vrindavan, all the devotees pray for the mercy of Srimati Radharani. And Srimati Radharani is so merciful and so compassionate that she goes to Krishna and she says, oh, this devotee is wonderful, better than me. That's what she says. That is what our consciousness should be, wherein when we see some other devotee who is giving pleasure to Krishna, our hearts, our mind should say that, oh, this is wonderful. This devotee is giving so much pleasure to Krishna. I am so indebted to this devotee. That is how our consciousness should be. We should all strive to come to that platform, to that level, because that is what is devotional service. Devotional service is not what pleases me, what I am happy about. It is what pleases Krishna and what pleases Krishna's devotees. Now, I have taken this picture on purpose because this morning, when I was listening to the lecture from the manor by His Holiness Atmanivedan Maharaj, he actually showed this picture. And he was describing how, I'm not sure if this picture is very clear, but I hope it is. So over here, you see on one half of the part, it shows the Rasa Leela with the gopis and Krishna. And the other bit is about Mahaprabhu performing the Harinam Sankirtan. And Maharaj so nicely was explaining that these two activities are actually the same. They are one and the same. What is happening in Rasasthali is happening in Srinivas Prabhu's Angan, is happening in Navadvip when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is performing Harinam, because when you take part in Harinam, when you take part and when you're dancing and singing in Harinam, you, for that moment, for those couple of minutes or half an hour or whatever, sometimes you completely lose awareness of where you are and what is happening, and you are so happy. There's so much pleasure that you derive from taking part in this. People who walked out of Harinams and things, and sometimes think, and I'll give you my own example. Last year we were in Germany, Golokadam, and a couple of people from this group, a couple of devotees from this group were also there. And His Holiness Sachidanand Maharaj was singing this kirtan. I think it was the last day of our yatra. And the kirtan just absorbed all of us. And my own example, I have never ever danced like that. I was jumping up and down. And I'll be honest, I have got high blood pressure. And for me to be jumping up and down is just not possible. I get breathless. But, I just lost myself completely. I was just, it was so beautiful, the kirtan. And the best thing about Mahaprabhu is that he's not asking for any kind of qualification, And also, in so many of our shastras and our acharyas teach us that you don't need to know the scriptures, you don't need to be able to recite the verses, you just don't need all of these qualifications. All that you need is love for Krishna, love for Radharani. How will you develop that love? When you develop love for the devotees. Developing love for Krishna is a very high thing, and we can speak about it, but the practical way to approach it is if you develop love for each and everybody. And when I say devotees, what we must remember, one thing is that everybody is a devotee. For some, it has manifested, they have realized, and for some they have not. Prabhupada used to say this. He used to always use this phrase. He used to say, everybody is a devotee, they don't know it yet. So if we can love everybody, then we will come to the stage of being able to love Srimati Radharani and then love Krishna. And that is why the process that Mahaprabhu has given us is so simple on one end. It's so simple, but then when you realize that what it is going to give you, you realize that it is so potent. It is so potent if we completely have the faith in chanting of the holy names. When you chant the holy names, chanting of the holy names is actually just calling out to the divine couple, to Radha and Krishna, to please give me shelter at your lotus feet, to please give me service at your lotus feet. That's all that chanting is. So, like how when a child calls out to his mother, the mother immediately comes. I've heard of our acharyas giving us some analogies that, when a child is a mother, come here, she'll be like, okay, mother, I need you, come here. Mother, I need you now. And the mother will drop everything and she will run. And that is the feeling that we should have when we are chanting the holy names. And then we will see that Krishna and Radharani will bestow their mercy on us. So it's 8:30, but I will just take a couple of minutes to speak about some of the stories which will show how merciful and compassionate Radharani is. And then after the stories, we are going to have a bhajan, because we cannot have this beautiful days go without a bhajan. And today we have a very, very nice, beautiful singer who has volunteered to sing. I'm not going to reveal the name now, so you all can enjoy the surprise afterwards. So just to show this, how compassionate Radharani is, I think most of you must have heard this story, because I've heard it some time back, and I was quite fascinated by this. So both these stories are from the Padma Puran, so they are from the Shastras. Once there was a jackal that was at Radhakund actually. And when she was at Radhakund, it was a female jackal, but she was at Radhakund, some children came and started beating it with some sticks. So in order to save herself, she went and hid in a foxhole. Now the children, being children and naughty, what they did was they built a fire in front of the opening of this cave. And obviously now the jackal couldn't come out, and she was stuck in the cave, and out of pain and fear, she started crying. When she started crying, Lalita Sakhi, who is one of the topmost associates of Radharani, was passing by, and she heard this, and she thought, how can anybody in Vrindavan be sad and cry like this? How can anybody be in distress? Because Vrindavan is the land of Radharani. So then she reached that spot and she chased away the children. And then she picked up the jackal and she brought it in front of Radharani. And seeing the jackal trembling with fear and pain, Radharani was so hurt, like a mother, because she is the mother of every living entity. She is the original mother, right? So when she saw the jackal in pain like this, she was so compassionate, and she picked up the jackal and blessed it. And then this jackal was accepted by Radharani as one of her sakhis, and she was blessed with eternal service. And I read in in some of the lectures, I read that this jackal actually represents the conditioned souls like us, and the children is Maya. So can you imagine how Maya is tormenting us all the time? And then when we cry, when we realize, see, first thing is to realize that we are being tormented by Maya, because that is our problem. We always think that I will do this, I'll be happy. Tomorrow I have this, I'll have a bigger house. That's my goal. Once I have a bigger house, I don't need anything else. I'll be happy. And then when you get a bigger house, there's something else that you need. Then there's something else that you need. And that's Maya, right? And Lalita Devi represents the Guru. Once we realize that we are being attacked by Maya and we cry out like the jackal cried, out of fear, out of, complete helplessness, and then we take shelter of our Guru, who will then lead us to the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. So that's one story. I hope you all enjoy this. And then there's a very, very short story from the Padma Puran. It is about this lady called Lilavati Devi. Now, unfortunately, Lilavati Devi was, she was not a woman of good character for whatever reason. So she was what we would term as a prostitute. So one day she was passing by and she heard this loud musical sounds, and she was quite excited to hear this. And she went to this place where where she could hear the music from, and she asked the people there. I'm going to really make this short because I can see that we're going over time. She asked, "What are you all doing?" And the people there said to her, "Oh, do you not know? It is Radhashtami today, and we are celebrating Radharani's appearance day." And she said, "Oh, can I also take part?" And they said, "Yeah, you can join us. You can do what you like." And she started singing and dancing with the devotees there. She raised her hands and was singing and glorifying Radharani. Now, just by after this, what happened was, then she left that place. In a couple of days, she was unfortunately bitten by a snake and she was dying. And at that time, the Vishnu Dutas, the Yamdutas also were there, but the Vishnu Dutas came and took the soul of Lilavati Devi. Now, the what I heard in the lecture was that they compared this to Ajamil. But think about this, if everybody knows the story of Ajamil, I think most of you know, in the case of Ajamil, Vishnu Dut and Yamdut had argument with each other. Yamdut didn't just allow the Vishnu Dut to take the soul of Ajamil or to take Ajamil. But in the case of Lilavati, there was no argument at all. The Yamdut was just standing on the side, and Vishnu Dut came and took her, and she was liberated. just by performing devotional service on this blessed day of Radhashtami. So Radharani is that merciful. And all of us, we must strive in our day-to-day devotional practices to take shelter of Srimati Radharani and beg for her mercy and her compassion. Okay, thank you very much. I'm sorry I'm rushing a bit, but I will stop sharing the screen. If anybody has any comments before we move on to the next program of the evening, any comments? Any questions? Anything you want to say? Or if you want to wait after we have our kirtan, then we can do that.
Just wanted to say beautiful story. It's very simple but very sweet but very profound as well.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. I think what we'll do is we'll move on to the next section, and then after we are finished, because I don't want people to miss this beautiful bhajan, and then after that we can have some more questions or reflections. So let's, I'll just share the screen. Ooh. I'm sure I had it up somewhere.
Yes, Mataji, we can.
Brilliant, brilliant. Okay. So everybody knows this bhajan. So I was requested by one of the devotees on our chat group that she would like to sing this. And I said, oh, beautiful. We all know this bhajan and we will relish your singing. So before she starts, does anybody want to read the translations?
Oh, I would like to read. Oh, okay, go for it. Go for it.
I couldn't see who that was, but whoever wants to read it, please go ahead.
I think there were two. I can read one verse and perhaps the next person could read the next one, if that's okay.
That's fine, yeah. Who is this, Mataji? I can't see.
My name's Gita.
Gita Mataji, okay, yeah.
Shall I start with the refrain?
Yes, please.
Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayate Gokula Taruni Mandala Mayate.
Sorry, Mataji, you need to read the translation.
Oh, sorry. Okay. All right. O Radha, O beloved of Madhava, O you who are worshipped by all the young girls of Gogola, all glories unto you, all glories unto you.
Maybe you could read two verses and the next two could be read by the other speaker.
Okay, sure. Sorry, I'm just looking at this on my phone, so it's with the screen is a bit. You who dress yourself in such a way as to increase Lord Damodar's love and attachment for you, O Queen of Vrindavan, which is the pleasure grove of Lord Hari.
Thank you. And I think it was Bhagavati Mataji.
Well, I can read if you want me to. Yeah, definitely.
Please, Mataji.
Okay. It's number 2. O new moon that has arisen from the ocean of King Vrishabhanu, O friend of Lalita, O you who may Visakha loyal to you due to your wonderful qualities of friendliness, kindness, and faithfulness to Krishna. O you who are filled with compassion, O you whose divine characteristics are described by the great sages Sanaka and Sanatana, O Radha, please merciful to me. Hari Hari.
Thank you so much. This is a very, very beautiful bhajan and we all sing it a lot at the temple.
Very nice, very nice.
Isn't it, Bhagavati Mataji? Okay, so Santosh Mataji wants to sing this bhajan today. So Santosh Mataji, are you here?
Yes, Mataji, I'm here.
Okay.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite Damodara Rati Varadana Veshe Hari Nishkuta Vrinda Vipineshe Damodara Rati Varadana Veshe Hari Nishkuta Vrinda Vipineshe Radhe Jaya Jaya माधवदायिते गोकुलतारुणे मण्डलमाहिते वृषभानुधादी नविशशिलेखे लालितसखि गुण रमित विशाखे वृषभानुधादी नवशशिलेखे लालितसखि गुण रमित विशाखे राधे जय जय माधवदायिते गोकुलतारुणे मण्डलमाहिते करुणां कुरु मयि करुणाभरिते शानख शानतान वर्णितचरिते करुणां कुरु मयि करुणाभरिते शानख शानतान वर्णितचरिते राधे जय जय माधवदायिते गोकुलतारुणे मण्डलमायिते राधे जय जय माधवदायिते गोकुलतारुणे मण्डलमाहिते राधे 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 श्री राधे राधे जय जय माधवदायिते गोकुलतारिणे मण्डल माहिते श्रीमती राधा रानी की जय
Jai, Jai. Thank
Very
you.
good. Beautiful.
Jai.
Beautiful.
Radharani ki jai.
Very good, Mataji.
Thank
Beautiful,
Hari
beautiful,
Hari O
Mataji.
Radhe. Hari Hari.
Hare Krishna. Thank
Now,
you.
if there's any comments, questions, and reflections, anybody wants to say anything, share anything, please feel free.
Mataji, I was listening to Hare Krishna. I was listening to Bhakti Rasamrita Maharaj's lecture this morning.
Yeah.
And you know how you were talking about Sankirtan and the two pictures that you showed from this morning's class. When he was saying that Sankirtan movement and Radharani's mercy is the Sankirtan movement. Because giving love indiscriminately is Radha. And Mahaprabhu Sankirtan, that's exactly what he did, giving love out, the holy name, indiscriminately. And so he was saying that everyone should join the Sankirtan movement, whatever they can do for the Sankirtan movement. And participating in Sankirtan makes us pure devotees. We don't have to wait to become pure devotees to join the Sankirtan movement. So I thought it was such a beautiful comparison. I never thought of it like that. But when you mentioned, I thought that's exactly what Maharaj was talking about.
Yeah, beautiful, Mataji. Even I heard it like when today His Holiness Atmanivedan Maharaj was saying this, that is a time that even it struck me. I was like, oh, we may have heard it, but it never kind of registered in your mind that, it is that. And it's so true. Thank you for your reflection. Thank you.
The mercy of Radharani Sankirtan.
That's it. So we all have, but Hema Mataji, the best thing is it is the mercy of Radharani which has been made accessible by Mahaprabhu and by Prabhupada, isn't it?
Absolutely. And Prabhupada, most importantly, absolutely.
Otherwise, people like, I speak for myself, there was no way that, we would be in this movement at all. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah, nice Jack. I love Jackal's story. Beautiful.
Me too, yeah. Me too. Anybody else? Anything?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
I I just wanted to make sure I understand this right. So to gain access to Lord Krishna, we need to pray both to Sri Balaram and Radharani. Is that right?
Yes, Mataji, if you remember the story of the jackal and where we said that Lalita Sakhi is like the guru who is to lead us to the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. So Balramji is the eternal guru. So if you you do a comparison, it is exactly the same thing. We always have to approach through the Guru.
Yes.
Okay, so that's what it is.
Okay, so the Guru in this case is is both Radharani and Sri Balaram?
Actually, Balram is the Guru. Srimati Radharani is non-different to Krishna, but she is so full of love and mercy and compassion. She is very, very loving. You have to understand one thing, that with Krishna, he still has his rules and regulations. He still may think whom he is going to give mercy to. Whereas Mahaprabhu and Srimati Radharani do not ask for any qualification. Because Mahaprabhu has come in the mood of Radharani, he is full of mercy. And that is why it is easier to approach Radharani through the Guru. So, when we talk about, if you remember the analogy, the story of the jackal, Lalita Sakhi is the Guru. She takes the jackal, which is us, the conditioned souls, to Radharani. And with the mercy of Radharani, we will then achieve the devotional service of Krishna. So it is a via medium. We cannot approach Krishna directly.
Okay, all right, thank you.
No problem.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Bhagavati Mataji.
Yes, I read somewhere this morning regarding Radharani, and then I came across saying that when Radharani and Krishna enjoy themselves, actually the Vraja gopis themselves of Vraja enjoy more pleasure, more than Radharani herself. Although, association of Radharani do not expect any personal attention, of course they don't. But still, Radharani is so pleased with her associate that she arranges a meeting that like Krishna enjoys and the damsels of the Vraja enjoy as well, you see.
Yes.
And by many translations, Radharani tries to combine this, and I think that satisfied everyone. So Krishna is satisfied.
Yes.
That's what I thought. That so you can imagine that how Radharani tries to satisfy Krishna. That's his pure devotion, isn't it? She doesn't want to enjoy everything of herself.
Exactly. The mood in Vrindavan is such. I was listening to one class, and it is so interesting, where when Krishna steals butter from the gopis' houses, right? The gopis are coming and complaining to Yashoda Mai. But so one thing is, they are, they don't mind Krishna coming and stealing. But the other aspect which our acharyas teach us is that they think in their mind that Yashoda Mai is not seeing this. She's not enjoying, she's not getting the pleasure of seeing Krishna stealing the butter. Let me go and tell her the story, so that will give her pleasure. Now, can you imagine the mother of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has so much love for Krishna, but still the gopis in their heart are thinking, how can I give more pleasure to Yashoda Mai? That is the mood of Vrindavan, where it is completely selfless, where everybody only wants to please the other. That's what it is. Like Maharaj was giving one class, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj was giving a class, and he said, the gopis in Vrindavan dress themselves up not because they want to look beautiful. And he said, they only dress themselves up because it gives Krishna pleasure. When it gives Krishna pleasure, then Krishna becomes more, more happy. Then the gopis dress themselves up more, and then Krishna becomes more happy. And, Maharaj being Maharaj, he said, I can go on about this, that, this gopis become happy, then gopis dress up, Krishna becomes happy, gopis dress up, Krishna becomes happy. This goes on. This is eternal. This is what happens in Vrindavan, So that's what it is.
That is so selfless, very selfless.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any questions? I know it is 8:50, and if people want to leave, they can leave. But if anybody has any questions, reflections, or we can stop here. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you all for tolerating me. I really, sorry, somebody said something?
Bread to rise a little bit too. Not to mention biscuits, pastries, and cakes.
So yeah, thank you for tolerating me on all such very auspicious day. I somehow get the mercy of the devotees, and I get the chance to speak. So thank you very much. And I hope you all had a wonderful Radhashtami. I'll see you again in 2 weeks' time, maybe. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank
Mataji.
Krishna,
Thank you
Hare
so much for the
Krishna.
beautiful
Mataji.
line.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare
You
Krishna.
can
Hare Krishna.
Hare
you
Krishna.
can keep coming every festival time, okay, Madhu Mataji?
I've been asked to come
Hare
every
Krishna.
alternate Wednesday, so I will be seeing you all every alternate Wednesday.
Hare Hare. Thank you. Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.